One of the strangest toy lines to release in the 90s was the Incredible Crash Dummies. The franchise was based on a series of public service adverts for seatbelt safety in the USA. As an adult, it's hard not to look at the toy line through a critical lens for glorifying car accidents to children, rather than promoting safety as intended. But at the time there was nothing else quite like them, combining cartoon characters with realistic destruction. I had many of the action figures and adored the half-hour animated special, which was one of the first times I'd seen CGI used in a TV show. My love for the Crash Dummies franchise spilt over into video games, and it was one of the first cartridges I got for my Game Boy. So let's buckle up and check out the Incredible Crash Dummies. Releasing in 1992, the Incredible Crash Dummies is a collection of 5 minigames. The premise is that Slick and Spin want to save for a holiday, but their job as Crash Dummies doesn't pay enough, so they get a week's worth of jobs on the side to fund the trip. The game has 4 difficulty levels. You play through the 5 minigames on easy, then repeat on medium, hard and very hard modes. Each week ramps up the difficulty by introducing new obstacles or increasing the speed of the stage. Let's have a look at the minigames in more detail. Day 1 sees the dummies take on work as stuntmen for a movie, jumping from the top of a burning building. You need to guide the dummy down, crashing through as many awnings and balconies as possible to earn extra money, while avoiding the fires. At the end of the fall, there's a target you must crash into to complete the level. Your dummy has 3 positions you can switch between. Free fall, which is the standard speed, pressing up assumes the dive bomb stance, which slows your descent, and pressing down puts you into the dive position, and greatly increases your speed. Playing on the harder difficulties adds birds to avoid, and makes use of the flagpoles for crossing from one side of the building to the other, as well as upping the amount of overall hazards. I like this stage. It controls well, and has a good amount of replayability in trying to smash through every obstacle for a high score, and, as it isn't procedurally generated, you can learn the layout and get better each time. Day 2 puts the dummies back in their comfort zone, behind the wheel of a car. This time, Spin and Slick are testing airbags, but the airbags are not inflated yet, and it's your job to collect cans of air along the way. At the end of the stage is a huge magnet to smash into and test out those airbags you've been inflating, in true Crash Dummies fashion. You gain cash by hitting cones, collecting air cans and grabbing money pickups. However, hitting gates and driving over cracks will cause you to lose air, potentially leading to a failed attempt when you hit the magnet. Your car can also break down from too much damage, so you need to collect spanners en route to stay in shape. The higher difficulties add pedestrian dummies for you to avoid, as well as dead ends. I've always liked this level too. The car doesn't handle brilliantly, but the concept is very true to the Crash Dummies brand. Day 3 sees the dummies testing a new ski slope. The goal here is to hit as many flags as possible on the way down, whilst avoiding trees and snowdrifts. Hitting trees is an instant fail, and snowdrifts cause you to roll away in a snowball, missing flags and wasting precious time. You get extra money for taking out the snowmen. It's always fun lopping their heads off. You have a jump button on this stage, but I never found it that useful, as the dummies leap way too far, so you're likely to land on a tree. The other difficulty options increase the number of flags you need to ski through, and position the flags in ever more precarious places. This was, and still is, my favourite minigame. It's quite challenging without being unfair, and has great music. I'm not sure why, but I think I just like skiing in video games. A little tip: it isn't listed in the manual, but if you hold the A button, your dummy will turn more sharply, making it easier to zip between the flags. Day 4 introduces a bizarre minigame. The dummies are working in quality control at a munitions factory, except some of the bombs are coming down the 3 conveyor belts already lit, and Crash Dummy body parts have also gotten into the mix. Your task is to blow out the lit bombs, let the unlit bombs through, and remove the dummy parts by hitting them with a hammer. If a lit bomb gets through, it will stop that production line and increase the speed of the others. This stage is kind of like a rhythm game once you get going, and the fun comes from trying to remember which button blows out the fuses, which one swings your hammer, and doing all of this under the pressure of 3 moving conveyor belts. It can quickly become overwhelming, especially on higher difficulties. The thing that always caught me out is how continuing to move in one direction off screen teleports you to the opposite side, so it's easy to lose your bearings. By no means the worst minigame. I'm looking at you, Space Missile level. I don't find this one as fun as the others, perhaps because you're confined to just one screen. Finally, Day 5 is reserved for the worst minigame of the bunch, the space missile stage. This involves guiding a missile from a launch platform, avoiding walls, vortexes, and other missiles before crashing into a small target. The main issue with this level is purely the controls, which sap all of the fun out of it. It seems the developers were aware of the difficulty, as it's the only minigame that has a tip in the game manual. You direct your missile in 360 degrees and then use the A button to fire your engines. This sounds simple enough, but the missile builds up such a strong momentum that you spend most of your time trying to slow down and avoid walls, which leaves you completely open to the obstacles headed your way. This is a one-hit fail mission too, so you have to fly perfectly to reach the goal, which is usually accomplished through sheer luck. Trust me, the image of the crumpled missile will be burnt into your memory forever after a few rounds of this stage. The other stages start mildly and become more difficult as you work through the weeks, but the missile minigame is just tough from the get-go. Once, and if, you complete this level, you'll have no time to rest as it's week 2 and straight back into the first minigame of jumping from the burning building, but on medium difficulty. Weeks 2, 3 and 4 play out the minigames in the same order as week 1, with each run upping the difficulty. Now it's time for another edition of Did They Really Print That? Bringing you examples of funny and mildly offensive remarks from game manuals of old. The Incredible Crash Dummies booklet is full of classic Crash Dummies art. But I have to mention the Incredible Crash Dummy trivia test. This is a page of jokes that start off quite innocently. What is a Crash Dummy's favourite sport? Basketball. But then take a dark turn. Check out these supposed jokes from the manual for a kids game. What's the first thing that goes through your head when you find yourself in an accident without your safety belt buckled? The windshield. What's the one thing a person who doesn't use safety belts will never see? Old age. I guess they were going for the shock value. It makes me wonder what else we're going to find in these old game manuals. Tune in next time for another exciting edition of Did They Really Print That? So, how does Incredible Crash Dummies hold up nowadays? Surprisingly well, actually. The minigame format works great, especially for a handheld system like the Game Boy, with most of the stages lasting 2 minutes or less, perfect for a bus or car journey. A run through the 5 minigames can be completed in under 10 minutes when you know what you're doing, so it really excels in short bursts. As a kid, I would usually get games for birthdays or Christmas, so this felt like getting 5 games in one, and kept me coming back for years. I particularly wanted to highlight the great animation in the game. There were some really nice touches, like the way the dummies nervously edge across the rooftop on stage 1 before comically diving into danger, or how the car sprite on level 2 scales when hitting the ramp to give the impression of depth. Simple, but very effective to my younger self. On the negative side, the main letdown is the missile stage. It's just too twitchy to control, and the one-hit kills hamper it. I've never actually gotten past the missile stage on week 3, so I'm not even sure how the game ends. I also wish there was a way to skip a minigame, or select which one you want to play, and at which difficulty, so that you could practice it, or just keep returning to your favourites. It's a shame we never got a sequel, as I would have loved another selection of minigames with a few quality of life improvements. Overall, I really enjoyed revisiting the Incredible Crash Dummies. The minigames themselves were a lot of fun. They all play uniquely, and are very replayable. Whilst it doesn't have the high score chasing potential of a puzzle game, I feel that the wackiness of some of the stages, coupled with the appealing art style, make this a great option for younger gamers, or those looking for a hit of 90s nostalgia from one of the strangest IPs in existence. Have you played Incredible Crash Dummies? What's your favourite minigame? Ever made it to week 4? Let me know in the comments below. Thanks for watching.